Did I finish The Shining? No. Did I finish Akata Woman? No. But I did have a good reading month, and that's all that matters. Hello, my name's Morgan, and welcome back or to my channel. Let's talk about the books I read in August. First book that I read in August was This Is How You Lose the Time War. This was definitely a Bookstagram, BookTube influenced type of book. I saw it everywhere and I thought I would give it a try. It had all of the ingredients that I typically like in a book. It's, sapphic love, robots, sci-fi, has beautiful writing, so I thought I would give it a go. The audiobook is a short 4 hours, so I kind of took a dive and started listening to the audiobook. Now, this book took me months to read, so technically I finished it in the month of August. But yeah, I was in and out. My library loan got lapsed a lot, so that's why the book kept putting back and back. And I'm aware that it was only 4 hours, but I just couldn't get myself to finish it. What happened was, like, I didn't like the audiobook reader, like the actor. She just didn't fit the vibe for me. I kept getting lost in the audiobook because this book is very abstract, if you will. So I just kept getting lost. I would put it down and then I'm like, oh, I had to remember what happened. It's not very chronological. There's a lot of time traveling, so you just don't really know the context. So I found myself getting lost. It's hard to kind of keep up, so I didn't really like the audiobook. I kind of looked around BookTube and Bookstagram, and a lot of other people didn't really like the audiobook for this book. So I may try to reread it in the future with the physical or ebook, just because I've heard a lot of great things from people and I just didn't have that experience with this book. It almost felt misleading to me because I love all of those things and it didn't provide those things to me in the audiobook form. So maybe some miracle will happen and I'll like the physical book. So I ended up giving it a 3.25 stars. Lukewarm experience, like 3, but I gave it that 2.5 just because I did like the writing style and I liked how you could kind of tell the shift between both of the authors that contributed to this book, but it just didn't jive with me. I'm going to try it again maybe in the future. But if you like, sapphic love, robots, sci-fi, time travel, really abstract kind of writing, this one is for you. But I would definitely recommend not listening to the audiobook, and you should probably pick up the physical or the ebook. It's a short book, so yeah, I wish I liked that one more. It kind of started my reading month off a little shaky, but it happens. The next book I read in August was Percy Jackson and the Battle of the Labyrinth. I can't go into much detail, it's a series, but it continues the story. It's a fun middle grade about, half-bloods and the Olympians and Greek mythology. They included more, Greek myths in there, more characters from those tales. A great time, very classic spin on making it more middle grade and more fun. It's a good time. I can't not like it. It was a good time. I can't really say much more. I liked it. So it was a strong 4 stars for me. So if you want to go back into middle grade and you like Greek mythology, I mean, just start picking this up. It's good. I'm almost there. I just have one more book left until I finish the Percy Jackson series. So, I'm almost there. I'm really excited. I liked it so far. I can't wait for the conclusion, and I really can't wait for the new TV series. And I'm glad that would have finished all of the books before the TV series came out. So, yeah. Finally, it took me about a month and I started it I think July and I finished it now in August, but I finally finished the Sword of Shinara. As predicted, I loved it. 5 stars. I'm obsessed. It's a typical traditional fantasy story. The chosen one arc, they go on a journey, to defeat the evil and save the world. Band of eclectic, heroes. Overall, really great experience. It is slow, it is detailed. I did the awful thing of looking at the ratings on Goodreads during the time I was reading this. I can see people's perspective. I am aware, I can see why they didn't like it. I mean, you can definitely tell that he was influenced by the big fantasy players during that time. Lord of the Rings. We got a little bit of like King Arthur, the Sword of the Stone kind of feel to it. But you also kind of get, Princess Bride. Princess Bride, yes. There's some moments of Princess Bride, especially when you meet some of the characters the main character Shay meets in the future. You can just see like kind of all of the influences that he wanted to include. I think of it more as a homage to all of the fantasy that he might have enjoyed, the author Terry Brooks might have enjoyed. But I think it's great. Like, this is his debut book. This is the first book he's ever written. It's a high fantasy with 600 pages, and he's trying to create his own stamp on fantasy. That's a hard feat, so I can't imagine being your first book you've ever written and published being 600 pages and creating this huge fantasy world. So I honestly, like, kudos to him. I do say there is some hints that of the times that of in the 70s. So I was hoping for a very strong female lead in this book. However, he threw in a female character, which was great, but he just didn't execute it well. The female character definitely was more of a plot or character development catalyst for another main character, which was disheartening. I was expecting a little bit more, but this is a white man writing about women in the 70s. So, however, I do know in the Elven Stone or the Elf Stones, the next book in this series, there is more of a female protagonist. I have high hopes that he learned from this book that you need to give female characters more agency. If you love fantasy, I mean, check it out. I mean, if you're not afraid of big books, I'm not afraid of big books. Well, there's only one hesitancy for me to not like big books, and that's how heavy they are. I did get a lot of painful wrist strain while reading this for hours on end. But other than that, I mean, if you like detail, big books, fantasy, and that kind of classic story, this is the one for you. I still really love it. I'm probably going to recommend this to anyone that tells me they like fantasy, and if they haven't read it, I encourage people to read this one. I could probably go on and on, so I guess I'll move on to the next book because unfortunately I can't just talk about the Sword of Shinara the whole entire video. That would be a little boring for some people. Big love. This was probably the highlight of my reading month of August, so whew. All right, next book I read was Legends of Lattes. So I took a break from the Sword of Shinara and that whole world to just give me a little bit of break, but I still wanted a bit of fantasy, and I finally got to Legends in Lattes. I mean, there's a reason why this is all over Bookstagram, BookTube, whichever kind of content you consume. If you're one of those that like TikTok, I'm sure it's on TikTok. It's so good. I loved it. 4.75 stars. The only reason I didn't give it 5 stars is because some of the plot points were so easily, fixed. There's quick fixes. There wasn't a lot of build up. Things just kind of fell into place super easily. There wasn't a lot of conflict. But I mean, that's kind of the whole selling point of this book is it's a low stress, high fantasy. So it makes sense, but also I just wanted more. I just want more of it, which I can't say is a negative, but it also kind of is. Does that make sense? Like, I wanted more from it, but at the same time, I'm obsessed with it. So that's why I didn't go for the full 5 stars. But it's great. It's a cozy read. It definitely has like the summer, fall, and winter kind of vibes. So it kind of covers a lot of seasons. but also, you know, it's a big like entrepreneur type vibe. So it even gave me the feeling of like, oh, I'm going to start my own business. This is great. I'm going to start my own coffee shop. Why not? But just kind of seeing her develop something of her own is always, you know, very, it's so nice to read when someone reaches their dream, right? I think it's worth the purchase because it's just such a lovely crafted book because this isn't like through a main large publisher. You get like a lot more quality in this book. The cover, I mean, just look at the art. Oh, look at that art. Yeah, beautiful art. But it's one of those like velveteen covers, and then it's just so thick. The pages are thick and well, like sturdy. And then the best part that I really loved about this book is the chapter heads. They have these beautiful illustrations at each chapter head that kind of have something to do with each chapter. So beautiful illustrations within. I I can't say enough. I really love this, and I hope more people read it and love it too. Um, dare I say, I hope the author writes more or something along these lines, or some, it could be something else, but just the general vibe, I wish we could get more of it. So yeah, it's great. The characters really grow on you. It's kind of like that found family vibe as well. It also kind of touches on like imposter syndrome, which I don't know if you feel that, but I feel that a lot in my career. I always feel like I'm just this big imposter that has no clue what I'm doing and I'm just getting lucky. But it definitely deals with a lot of those feelings. I really recommend this. Please read this. And if you don't, that's okay too. But if you have any, you know, interest in fantasy or just, you know, a good cozy vibe, this is the one. It really came to me in the right time. It's like a big hug. So, yeah, Legend and Lattes. So good. So, I finally read Station 11. It's been on my list for a long time. I was really excited for it, and it came through. It came through for me. 4.75, I believe. Yeah, 4.75 stars. It came through for me. Loved this book. Oh, okay. So this is basically what I wanted from Sea of Tranquility, but I finally got it in this book. So it actually is a whole star difference for me. I definitely prefer Station 11 over Sea of Tranquility. That doesn't mean I don't not like Sea of Tranquility. I just prefer this one a little bit more. So if you're also a reader that didn't like Sea of Tranquility, maybe try Station 11. Because if you like her writing, I mean, she wrote this too, but it's a little bit more focused on the pandemic and more survival in the pandemic and how people are interconnected that way. But yeah, it's so beautifully written. I really like her writing, so I'm so glad I didn't get put off from Sea of Tranquility. I actually picked up her other books because this was great. Obviously, it was in like the runner up, you know, for this award and everything like that as well. It got a TV series. And I was really eager after I finished this book to finally watch the TV series. And unfortunately, I found out it's only on HBO Max. I don't have HBO Max. I was very upset. So let me know if you liked the TV show. Was the TV show adaptation good? Because I won't know. I won't ever know because it's only on one like streaming channel. And of course, I don't have that one. But back to the book. This is kind of the style of book that I really like. It's not chronological. It doesn't go from time, like it doesn't follow like a straightforward timeline. It's kind of going back and forth in time, as well as back and forth in time with different characters' perspectives. So you kind of have to put the dots together and follow along. I like that. I kind of like that the author doesn't have to spell everything out for me. I can have my own moments where I'm like, that must be this character that showed up, and like connecting to all of these dots myself. So I love that about her writing. As well as just like human connection, the struggle of being a human and the struggle of connecting with the people that are important in your life while other struggles of life happen. So much struggling, basically struggle bus, right? I mean, it's a pandemic. You really start to love the characters. I just wanted more of it. I want more. I think that's why I rated this 4.7 or 75 stars, is because like I just wanted more of it. Why couldn't this be the 600 book? I could have kept going. You know, the only thing I could say is like you don't really, since it's more of a non-linear timeline, you just don't get to see the characters kind of go through living in a pandemic as much. There's not a lot of detail about the survival process for each of these characters, like deeply. It's more about human connection and kind of thinking more of those higher level thoughts, like self-awareness, aspects of self, what does it mean to live, that kind of thing. My only other thing about this book is there is representation in this book. I just don't know how well or how good it is, but I will say it's there. There's, you know, characters of color, characters from the LGBTQ plus IAA plus. You know, they're there. There's interracial marriage that is highlighted in there as well. But they're not the main characters in this book, so I don't know if the representation's done well, but it is there, which for a lot of books, I mean, that I'm kind of reading, I mean, most of them are fantasy, so they're fantasy creatures, but you got some diversity in here. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts on this one. Have you read this book? I really loved it. It was the last book I finished in August. It was a good end to my reading month. So good. I liked it. So I don't know. Let me know. Let me know. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Or did you just neutral? That's always an option too. Or haven't read it. So that's it. Those are the 5 books that I read in the month of August. So had a wonderful reading month. I loved all of those books for the most part, except for This Is How the Time You Lose the Time War. Yeah, let me know what you read in August. You know, I hope you liked everything you read in August. I do have a major update, so I've been kind of saving this towards the end, so I'll know if you watch the video all the way until the end. I have some news. You kind of might have noticed I haven't been posting frequently. My content's kind of gone down in the past couple weeks, and that's because I accepted a job in Italy. Italy! I've been dreaming of Italy since I was 12 years old. I am so excited to have this opportunity to work abroad. I'll get the whole working visa and everything, so I'll be able to stay there and live there while I work. My job's gonna be in English, so I mean, that's a major part. I still want to learn Italian. If you've kind of followed me on Instagram, I've been trying to learn Italian on my own even before this opportunity happened. I've always wanted to learn Italian. I was also that really upset child in high school or secondary school if you're in Europe, or I guess that's maybe only a UK thing, but I always wanted an Italian language class, and I only got French, Spanish. I think one of them was German, but they only went up to like level 2, and then Chinese of all things too, which are all great. Learning languages is great. So I'm not saying I'm upset that they were there and those I was forced to learn those, but I just really wanted to learn Italian, and that was not an option. And I understand in the United States Italian may not be most advantageous, but I was that child that was like, I want to learn Italian. um, for some reason, it's always been kind of like the dream destination. I always fantasized about living there, so now I get to live the dream. But that being said too, my content may falter a little bit in terms of consistency of posting and quality of posting maybe. Just because I've never had to do this process before. I've never had to apply for a visa. I've never lived abroad. Europe is different from the United States. I'm well aware. So I'm kind of going to be doing a lot of work in the behind the scenes, a lot of paperwork, a lot of learning, and just kind of going with the flow. I am nervous for those parts, but I'm very excited because this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Hopefully, I can just start covering a little bit of Italy in my content. You can kind of see the book scene, as it were, in Italy. Just kind of see like if an Italian library has an English language section, so I can check out a book from the local library, things like that. And even just to see what bookshops are like there, if they even I assume they have them. This is not, you know, a foreign planet. um so yeah, I'm very excited. I'll get some beautiful experience. I mean, how many people say that they don't want to go to Italy? Maybe they do, but I mean, it's a pretty beautiful place, so I'm very excited. Yeah, wish me luck. But yeah, so I'm gonna start that process soon. We'll see what happens. I don't know what it's gonna be like. I don't know if I can film a lot. I don't know what's going on yet, so we'll see. I'm hoping I can still continue my Bookstagram and BookTube. I hope I don't take too long of breaks. It just maybe impact the consistency of how I'm posting, or when I'm posting, how frequently, things like that. Oh, before I forget, I also want to say a thank you to Reading This Life for the shout out. I really appreciate this shout out. It came in good time because I was faltering with these life choices I was recently making, and I didn't know if I was going to continue to post regularly. But that is the great part of support and supporting a community. Just the encouragement of someone giving me a shout out, is a great, nice, gratification that I should keep going with this, especially because it is something I like to do. It's just, getting the motivation and also kind of managing everything that's going on in life. So thank you, This Reading Life, for giving me a shout out. Go ahead and check out her channel too. So those are kind of all of the things. Let me know what you're reading in August. What were your faves? Any new faves? Any books you didn't like? Have you read any of the books that I read in August? What are your thoughts on those? Let me know. I want to talk about books. Let me know also, like, have you ever worked abroad? Have you ever dreamed of working abroad? If you could, where would you work abroad? Or even just a vacation. Let me know if you've been anywhere, if you have any, suggestions as I make my journey to moving to Italy. And yeah, that's basically it. So we'll see how everything goes. Yeah, pinch me. I think I'm dreaming. All right, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.